Brace yourselves as we are about to rip away the veil and expose the untold, the thrilling, the hidden side of Cleopatra. The enigmatic queen. The woman who ruled, rebelled, and dared to defy Rome itself. Get ready for revelations that'll leave you spellbound. Are you prepared for the secrets to unfold? Cleopatra's Reign. Enter the realm of Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt's Ptolemaic dynasty, often pigeonholed as a femme fatale, but beneath the surface, a resilient monarch of exceptional political acumen. They were to witness a spectacle previously unseen. A teenage queen, a mere 17, daring to break the gender chains of tradition, engaging in sacred rites alongside the Butch's bull, symbolizing Egypt's primary male deities. This audacious display elevated her to the living embodiment of Isis, the goddess believed to sustain the land's fertility. Cleopatra, resplendent and youthful, led the great bull in a procession like no other. The ancient records reveal the frenzied public reaction. Crowds united in drunkenness, their euphoric roars piercing the heavenly silence. The queen was visible to all, a spectacle of royal grandeur and divine reverence. Born in Alexandria, Cleopatra, a harmonious blend of Greek-Egyptian lineage, became a unifying force, her multilingual skills and divine persona fueling her rule. But Rome saw her differently. A foreigner amidst their civil war, she was a worthy adversary influencing their greatest figures, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Cleopatra, the formidable final pharaoh from the 300-year Ptolemaic rule, managed an empire spanning Egypt, Cyprus, and beyond. But who truly was Cleopatra? An enchantress? A political mastermind? As we dig a little deeper into the dusty scrolls of history, and the real Cleopatra emerges, a queen whose charm was more than skin deep. The philosopher Plutarch, who lived between 46 and 120 AD, provides us with an interesting perspective. He suggested her beauty was not of the stop-you-in-your-tracks variety. Instead, it was her captivating persona and the spark in conversation that made Cleopatra irresistible. So, rather than a seductress draped in royal garb, we see a woman of keen intellect and mesmerizing charm. Eric Gruen, a historian at the University of California, Berkeley, refutes the idea of Cleopatra as a sexual predator, labeling her the passionate and astute queen of Egypt, Cyrene, and Cyprus. She was a chess master in the game of empires, deftly moving Rome to safeguard her Ptolemaic heritage. Cleopatra's story began in 69 BC, in the heart of a troubled dynasty, the Ptolemies, descendants of a Macedonian general under Alexander the Great. Despite their long reign, the Ptolemaic kingdom was marred by internal conflict and the looming shadow of Rome's might. This culminated in Cleopatra clashing with her own brother in a bid for control. She was the daughter of Ptolemy XII, a king grappling with Rome's escalating demands, leading to his exile in 58 BC. During his absence, two women, both named Cleopatra and Berenice IV, claimed the throne, the latter succeeding the former. But fate had other plans. In 55 BC, with Rome's backing, Ptolemy XII reclaimed the throne and declared his 17-year-old daughter, our Cleopatra, as his co-ruler. However, his death in 51 BC resulted in a succession dispute between Cleopatra and her brother or husband, Ptolemy XIII, leading to civil war. Cleopatra found herself expelled from the palace, the throne just out of reach. Enter Julius Caesar, a crucial figure in Cleopatra's rise back to power. Caesar and Cleopatra. But how did Cleopatra VII find her unlikely ally, Julius Keyser, a man 30 years her senior? Their meeting was no orchestrated diplomatic alliance, but a twist of fate, born out of the ashes of a Roman civil war. Keyser, at war with the Roman general Pompey, found himself in Egypt when Pompey fled there seeking support from young Pharaoh Ptolemy XIII. Unwilling to engage in Rome's conflict, Ptolemy ordered Pompey's execution, a welcome gift he thought. But as Pompey's head was presented to Keyser, he reportedly recoiled. Why Caesar stayed in Egypt to mediate between Cleopatra and Ptolemy is unknown. Some suggest it was Rome's dependence on Egypt's grain supplies. Ptolemy XIII, hoping to gain Caesar's favor, tried to isolate Cleopatra from him. But Cleopatra, shrewd and determined, had other plans. Legend has it that she smuggled herself into Caesar's quarters rolled in a bed sack. This daring move stunned Ptolemy. Egyptologist Joyce tirelessly imagines Ptolemy waking to find Cleopatra already sharing a close rapport with Keyser, persuading him to back her claim to the throne. Overwhelmed by this shocking revelation, the young king ripped off his diadem, sparking a public outcry against Caesar's interference. Yet Keyser stood firm. He read aloud the will of Ptolemy XII, emphasizing that Cleopatra and her elder brother were meant to rule Egypt together. Thus, Cleopatra was reinstated to power, all thanks to Caesar's intervention. Their relationship deepened, resulting in a son, Caesarion, although Keyser never publicly recognized him. Following Ptolemy XIII's death in a failed rebellion, Cleopatra's younger brother, Ptolemy XIV, was made co-ruler. However, Cleopatra eventually had him removed, paving the way for Caesarion. Caesarion's birth gave Cleopatra newfound leverage. No longer was she merely a queen. She was now the mother to the son of Keyser. Tirelessly suggests this enabled her to adopt a semi-divine maternal identity, resonating with both Egyptian and Greek subjects. By her father's reign's end, Cleopatra had already risen to the status of a goddess. With the birth of her son, she drew parallels with Isis, Egypt's most famous single mother, further solidifying her divine image. Antony and Cleopatra. In ancient Egypt, allegiances shifted as swiftly as the desert sands. The stage was set in the brutal aftermath of Julius Caesar's assassination in 44 BC. Cleopatra, bereaved and vulnerable, hastily returned to Egypt from Rome. The political terrain was a fractured landscape, torn between Antony and Octavian, who squared off against Caesar's assassins. The victors, Antony and Octavian, partitioned the Roman Republic. Octavian commanded the west, Antony the east. As the drama heightened, Cleopatra, in her ruthless quest for power, eradicated her co-ruler and younger brother or husband Ptolemy XIV, crowning Caesarion as co-ruler. She didn't stop there. She also executed her sister Arsinoe IV in 41 BC, further tightening her grip on power. Antony, intrigued and somewhat perplexed by Cleopatra's lack of support during his battle against Caesar's assassins, summoned her to Asia Minor. Cleopatra defended her delayed naval support. However, it was her sparkling wit and intoxicating allure that captured Antony. He fell under her spell, his every decision now influenced by Cleopatra's commands. Antony and Cleopatra's relationship deepened, and they had 3 children, including twins Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene, and a third, Ptolemy Philadelphus. Antony, completely smitten, granted territories to Cleopatra that belonged to King Herod of Judea. From 40 BC to 36 BC, Rome engaged in a war with the Parthians, with Antony leading the Roman troops in the Middle East. Cleopatra played her part, sending crucial supplies and thus affirming their strategic and personal alliance. Yet this passionate romance sparked scandal. Antony was still legally wedded to Octavia, Octavian's sister. When Octavia traveled to Alexandria in 35 BC, Antony coldly sent her back to Rome. Octavian, angered by Antony's dismissive behavior, lavished honors upon Octavia, spotlighting Antony's scornful actions. The curtains fell with Antony's reputation in Rome in shambles, his unyielding alliance with Cleopatra under scrutiny. This was the intricate dance of ancient politics, a deadly game where love, betrayal, and power were intertwined. Reality behind the veil. Cleopatra, despite her foreign roots, embraced Egypt's age-old customs with fervor, distinguishing herself as the first Ptolemaic ruler to master the Egyptian language. Engulfed in the throes of royal tradition, Cleopatra's life was a testament to the Ptolemaic dynasty's convoluted intermarriages. Intertwining family ties sought to maintain the perceived purity of their lineage, leading to the uncomfortable probability that Cleopatra's parents were siblings. Further adhering to this unsettling custom, Cleopatra married her adolescent brothers sequentially, each serving as her ceremonial partner and co-regent during her reign. Contrary to popular belief, Cleopatra's most compelling trait was not her fabled beauty, but rather her potent intellect. Her impressive linguistic prowess spanned over a dozen languages, and her education was steeped in mathematics, philosophy, oratory, and astronomy. Ancient coins featuring her portrait depict a strong, masculine visage, a far cry from the seductive enchantress often portrayed in Roman propaganda. As Plutarch suggests, it was her captivating charm and irresistible eloquence that truly enchanted those around her. Power struggles were commonplace in Cleopatra's era, and her reign was no exception. After her unsuccessful attempt to claim the throne single-handedly, her first sibling husband, Ptolemy XIII, exiled her from Egypt, leading to a civil war that ended with his death in the Nile River. In her thirst for power, Cleopatra allegedly orchestrated the murder of her younger brother, Ptolemy XIV, and her sister, Arsinoe, eliminating potential threats to her throne. Cleopatra's theatrical sense of grandeur was legendary, whether sneaking into Julius Caesar's quarters bundled in a carpet or sailing into Tarsus on a golden barge, costumed as Aphrodite to meet Mark Antony. These dramatic entrances were not mere vanity but strategic moves to captivate potential allies and assert her divine status. Caesar's assassination in 44 BC forced Cleopatra to escape from Rome, where she had been living as his acknowledged mistress. Yet her exotic allure had already seeped into the heart of the city, with Roman women emulating her unique style, leading to a proliferation of the Cleopatra look. Cleopatra and Mark Antony reveled in one another's company, even establishing their own drinking club known as the Inimitable Livers, indulging in luxuriant feasts and playful pranks on the streets of Alexandria. This whirlwind love affair ultimately led to their downfall when the Roman Senate, fueled by Octavian's inflammatory propaganda, declared war on Cleopatra. During the climactic naval battle of Actium, Cleopatra led a fleet of Egyptian warships alongside Antony's, only to be outmaneuvered and compelled to retreat to Egypt. Cleopatra's death remained shrouded in mystery, with legends spinning tales of a fatal asp bite. Yet the chronicler Plutarch confessed that the true circumstances of her demise remain unknown. From lethal hair combs to toxic ointments, theories abound, suggesting that the enchanting queen may have chosen to end her life with a poison-dipped pin rather than a snakebite. From her birth to her death, Cleopatra's life was a riveting saga of power, intrigue, and defiance, underscoring her enduring legend as one of history's most captivating figures. That's a wrap for today, folks. We hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time.